In the previous lecture, we have seen a config map, and we have seen that config map stores how that config map stores variables or files in a clear text. So if you're storing things like passwords or your Docker registry credentials, which you will inject in your pod definition file, then these informations which are sensitive like passwords will be in clear text in your repository, because all the definitions file that you write will be in your repository, in a Git repository. So who have access to that Git repository can see the passwords in clear text, which is very, very, very bad. So we can store variables encoded, we can store these variables encoded or encrypted by using secret. Then we can inject it safely in our pod. So this kind of pod, we call it as a secrets pod. A secret is an object that contains a small amount of sensitive data, such as a password, a token, or a key. Such information might otherwise be put in a pod specification or in a container image. Using a secret means that you don't need to include confidential data in your application code, because secrets can be created independently of the pods that use them. There is a less risk of the secret being exposed during the workflow of creating, viewing, and editing pods. Kubernetes and applications that run in your cluster can also take additional precautions with secrets, such as avoiding writing secret data to non-volatile storage. So secrets are similar to configs but are specifically intended to hold confidential data. So then what are the use cases for secrets? There are three main ways for a pod to use a secret. First one, as files in a volume mounted on one or more of its containers. Two, as a container environment variable. Three, by the kubelet when pulling images for the pod. So the Kubernetes control plane also uses secrets. So let's create a secret object using imperative method. Then we will do it using declarative method. So let's begin to create a secret object using imperative method. So let me say, let me clear the screen first. Kubectl create secret, and it's a generic, then name db seek imperative from literal equal to environment variable That's MySQL root password equal to passwd. Let me execute this and see what's going to happen. Error, failed to create secret unauthorized. kubectl create secret So if you get an error like we are unable to log into your server or log into your server, that means maybe because of this, because of AWS reset, or if you don't use the AWS for more than 6 to 7 minutes, 6 to 7 hours, automatically the instances will get reset and it will be updated with the new public IP. So that's the reason the connection will be lost to the. Now to get back the systems, to roll back the systems, to swing back the systems instances into action, so we have to say this cops update cluster and name bucket state and as admin. So then after that you can give cops validate, then your within, after giving these two commands, proper connection will be established with the cluster. Cops will have a proper connection with the cluster. So then you can see kubectl get pod. You say that all the pods have came. Same similarly kubectl get node, and again all three nodes are there and these are updated versions. Okay, now let's swing into the action. So we are gonna create secrets using imperative method. So I have that here somewhere. Yeah, I think this is the one. Let me copy this. I'll keep everything same. Yeah, let me execute it. So db config is already exist. Okay, this is config map. Let me create. So kubectl create secret object, and that too it's a generic. Then the name I'm gonna give is dbsec, and it's imperative. Then from option, long from option, and short literal option literal equal to MySQL root password equal to pass wd. Let me execute it, and here it is. Secrets dbsec imperative has been created. Now let me do kubectl get secret, and you have only one secret, and that too it's opaque type. It's a opaque type data. It has only one data, and 15 seconds ago it's been created. Let me execute, let me check it, what is there inside that. So what I can do is kubectl describe, and it's a secret, and db sec imperative, and here is that it consists of only one data point. You see that one data point, that is MySQL root password, and that too it's not shown what's the password that we have mentioned, and it's 6 bytes. That's it, it's a 6 bytes. 1 2 3 4 5 6 and 6 bytes. So we can also fetch the file from this kubectl get secret and db sec imperative imp, and option o, I want it in AML format, and you see that SAML format, API version v1, data that we have attached, that's only one, MySQL root password dictionary, and kind is secret object, and here is the metadata about that object, and the type is opaque. So similar kind of declarative similar kind of declarative script we are going to write, declarative definition file we are going to write. So for that I'm going to copy this into secret sec.aml. Correct. So now let's create one more now, but this time what we are going to do is we will create we will give the input as a file, not a single value. We will give a file. Okay, in spite of giving the single input, we'll give the file. Okay, for that let me go to cd and root defs ls. So mkdir, it is secdef, and cd secdef ls. So here I'm gonna write one file echo option n. So admin is the password, so admin is the username, so I want to give this as an input to the file that should be created in the present working directory. So the file name is username.txt. So let's do ls, you see that, and cat username.txt, and okay, that's admin, that's admin, you see that, that's admin. vim vim username.txt, yeah, you see that, admin. Clear? Then similarly we will create a password.txt echo option n, and this time the password randomly I'll give, and give it to the password.txt ls, and cat password.txt, and this is your password. Here you see here this part till here. Okay, so we got the username and password. Now it's time to create a secret object. So kubectl, okay, clear the screen before we start. No, we'll keep it. Kubectl, create secret again, generic again. This time the name is db user pass, and now instead of environment variable, instead of a single environment variable, we are going to give a file name. So for that the option should vary from option with a file short. Okay, user pass and from with file equal to /username.txt, and another file is again from, and then file option /password dot txt. Let me execute it. Okay, unknown flag. Obviously, something is wrong. Let me cross check. From is fine. From is fine. Ah, here double S. Okay, double. Yeah. Okay. So secret DB, the secret object DB user pass has been created. Now let me give kubectl get secret, and you see that dbsec imp that we have created before 6 minutes ago, and db user pass, both are opaque type. This we have created just now. So now what will we do is we will do a kubectl describe secret, and it's a db user pass, and you should see that both the files password.txt and username.txt, 9 bytes and 6 bytes. Kubectl, so how can we incorporate a file inside the definition file? That we are gonna see now. Kubectl secret db user and pass, and option O, and I want it in YAML format. And here is the complete file API version, and inside that you have to mention both the files password.txt, username.txt. So username we gave something, it's been converted into something, and password also we gave something, it's been converted into something. So from this you should be able to understand what is this encoding. Then kind is secret, and this is the metadata about the secret object, and type is opaque as usual. So that's how we can imperatively, using imperative method or imperative command, we can create a secrets. So now what will we do is we will look into the encode concept first before we jump into the declarative way of creating Kubernetes secret object. So encoding is pretty much important in spite of simply, that's what fundamentally it will do. So in spite of simply putting or exposing all the secret information to the external users or just inside a repository, it's better to encode them and then and then use it there. So, but the question arises, how do we encode it? How do we encode it? So to encode, this is encoding. So encoding, for example, let's take echo. I want to encode username such as name Charan. So this is what I want to encode. So for that, I want I want to print the encoded encoded version of this Charan. So for that, I'm gonna say base 64. You convert this into the base 64. That's what is our encode, and this is what is the base 64, and that's what you have seen in our previous file also. Let me show that. Kubectl get and secret, and it is after the secret, the name is db user pass, and option wo aml. You see, both are encoded, and this is also encoded. So next, let me do the another example. So echo option n, and this time it's Divya, and pipeline base 64, and you see that encoded part. So now, is it possible for us to decode? Yes, it is possible. Let's do that. Let's decode this. Okay, let's also see. So decode echo, and this is the one which I want to decode. Copy this and paste it here, and pipe it using base 64 option, long option, that's a decode. So we want to decode this. Let me enter. It's Divya. You see that? It's decoded. Let me do ls. You see the decode. I have created it. So now let me vim decode, and here is that. So basically the output of that decode I have piped with, I have redirected the output of the pipeline to the decode file. So let me say W and Q and clear the screen. This is how we decode, but we encode and decode. So for us, we need to have two things of two parameters to be encoded. The first one is username, and second one is my secret pass. Both I am gonna put into the encoded one will be redirected into the output will be directed into respective files. So what I'm gonna say is echo option n, and this is admin, it's a username, and pipe with base 64 and redirect to the admin.txt. So that's it. And similarly, this time it's password. I would use my secret pass, same, and base 64, this is pass.txt. So ls, you should have a pass.txt and admin.txt. So these are the one which consists of our, so cat pass.txt, and here is that encrypted password. Similarly, cat admin.txt, and this is our encrypted username. So both we have, so we can easily get it. So that's how we encrypt and decrypt the any string inside a Linux machine. Now, why do we need this? That's what your question. I'm going to tell you. Just wait a moment. So now let's look into create a declarative secrets. So let's use a kubectl and a configuration file. We call it as a def file, a definition file for the secrets object, and the customized tool. If you want, you can use that, or else kubectl and configuration or definition file is more than enough to create your secrets. You can attach any number of secrets. So using secrets as a files from a pod. If you want to access data from a secret in a pod, one way to do that is to have Kubernetes make the value of that secret be available as a file inside the file system of one or more of the pod's containers. To configure that, you create a secret or use an existing one. So multiple pods can be referenced on the same secret. One secret object can be referenced to the multiple pods, and 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 two, modify your pod definition to add a volume under the spec object with a volume section. So name the volume anything and have a spec dot volumes secret name field equal to the name of the secret object. So here if you see, the first modification will be done here, and then second modification will be done at the volumes. You have to define your volumes, and inside that volumes you have to use a secret, and then inside the secret section you have to mention the secret name. So secret name should be the same as the secret that you have created before. So this is very important, the matching. So the matching this pattern is pretty important. Now this is an example of a pod that mounts a secret named my secret. You can see that. Okay. Now let's get into the action again. So this time we are going to first write a secret file. We'll create a secret. So, but if you want to do a declarative, then you have to first encode your data. So we have encoded it and we have stored that encoded data in .txt files also. Now, and then when you create a secret declarative kind secret type opaque data key, and the value that you give, you would have already encoded it, otherwise there is no point. And then in the pod definition file you can read it like I'll show that. In the pod definition file you can read it like you can say env. If it is an environment variables, or if you are using a file name, then you can use a file name directly. So if it has a multiple, it's going to export all of them. But if you want to be selective, you can say value from secret key reference, a name of the secret and key. This is what the secret name, and then value of the secret name. Now this is the simplest form of using secret. Secret has some other types as well. As let's look into that, what all types a secret has. So let me click on there here and let's get into the documentation. Yes. So secrets, what is secret and what's the difference between the secret and config, and what are the types of what are the uses of secrets and alternative to secret, and working with secret, what all tools are required. And we have a important information for us that is lined up is projection of secret keys to specific path, secret files permissions, consuming secret values for volumes, and using secrets more secrets updated automatically, invalid environment variables, container image pool secrets. This is widely used using image pool secrets. This is widely used, and this kind of code. So here you should see that use case as a container environment variable. So kind, it's a secret object. Name of that secret object is my secret, and type is opaque. And data, it consists of a username and password, two data points. One is username, it's encrypted, and password is also encrypted. So then we can create remaining things. And here, so once that is done, we can use in from to define all the secrets data as a container environment variables. The key from the secret becomes environment variable name in the pod. And here in from inside that you have to mention the secret ref in the pod. This is a pod object, and then name of that is a my secret, and then rest all remains same, and you can run it. And we will look into the few more concepts of this. What are the use dot files in a secret volume, and use case secret visible to, and types of secrets. That's what I want to show you. Types of secrets. When creating a secret, you can specify its type using the type field of the secret resource or certain equivalent kubectl command line flags if available. Okay. So now Kubernetes provides several built-in types for some common use case scenarios. These types vary in terms of validations performed and constraints Kubernetes imposes on them. So the most widely used one is opaque. Opaque is arbitrary user-defined data, and then you have a kubernetes.io service account token. This uses service account token. Then we have docker config, the docker cfg. This uses a serialized docker cfg file. Then docker config json, it uses a config.json file. And then we have a basic auth. Basic auth is nothing but the credentials for basic authentication. You will have basically a login, username and password. And SSH auth, this is credential for SSH authentication. Then TLS, data for a TLS client server, and token, bootstrap token data. So you can define and use your own secret type by assigning non-empty string as the type value for a secret object. So we will look into the opaque secrets only, not anything else. So opaque is the default secret type. If omitted from a secret configuration file, when you create a secret using kubectl, you will use the generic subcommand to indicate an opaque. When we say generic, previously we have used generic even in imperative commands also. So the generic subcommand indicate an opaque secret type object. For example, you can see that the following um, object that they have created. So, and this is example for the service account token secrets. Service account token secrets, you have to mention this is a secret object, but the type is service account token. You see that here it's mentioned type is service account token. Then we have more other types, docker config secrets, and here basically config normal and then config json, and here you can see the file, and type is kubernetes.io docker config. So based on your need, you have to use a specific file. So this is a best use case, and it is widely used use case. When you do not have a docker config file, you want to use kubectl to create a secret for accessing the container registry. This is widely used secret object. So to access a container registry to fetch the container, we can use this, and this is the example. It's all mentioned: Docker email, Docker username, Docker password, Docker server. So almost all secrets are mentioned here. Or else you can attach as a JSON path. You can attach as the same thing, whatever is there, you can attach it in a JSON format, a JSON file, and then save that file and put it in your command. And we have basic authentication secret, the next one. So basic authentication secret is pretty simple. You will have a username and password, the username for the authentication and the password or token for authentication. So the kubernetes.io basic auth type is provided for storing credentials needed for basic authentication when using the secret type. So the data field of the secret must contain one of the following one, that is username. You see that username and then password, and type is kubernetes.io basic auth. And we have SSH authentication secrets. For SSH authentication secret, the type is kubernetes.io SSH auth, and then the data is we are gonna say SSH private key. So private key will come here, and public key will be attached in all other places where you want to access. That's the private public key. So you have to create SSH key, and then the private key should be given to the secrets file. That's how SSH authentication secrets work. And you have TLS secrets, and then TLS, basically TLS.certify, TLS.key. So you will have both two, because we have when we have seen config file, in that we have user.crt and user.key. So both will be attached to the data here, and the type is kubernetes.io TLS. So that's how it works. Now let's do our first declarative object, a declarative secret object. So let me get into our server. Sudo I clear the screen and cd root def, and this one is sig def ls. There are a lot of files here. I am going to create a directory, that is mkdir. It is declarative. So cd declarative and ls. So here we are gonna write our first secret YAML file, a declarative script. So the name I'm gonna give is vim mysecret.yaml. So let's write it. mysecret.yaml. So kind secret. That's it. Our template is ready. So kind secret metadata, I'm gonna call this as a my secret, and type is opaque, and data I'm gonna attach two. One is username, so username, and other one is password. So at this moment I do not have those, so it will be there inside my server, so I will paste it there only, or else I'll bring it here. Yeah. A wq and a cat. I want username admin.txt. Okay, I have to get back cd and cat admin txt, and this is my username, encrypted username, not just username, and I'll paste it here. So username has been pasted. Now it's time to get the password. So the password is in cat password dot txt, and this is my password. No, sorry, that's a different one. So pass dot txt, that's what the one, I think. Cat pass dot txt. Yeah, this is what I'm gonna go with, pass dot txt. Let me copy this and paste it in password place. Okay, that's it. Our file is ready. This is our first secret definition file, or this is our first secrets object. Let me copy everything from here and let me get into declarative and ls. So vim my secret dot aml and paste the code here. That's it. All set, up and running. So now let's create our first secret object from declarative definition file. For that I'm gonna say kubectl create option F and my secret.ml. That's it. Secret. This is a secret object and it's a my secret. The name of that object is my secret has been created. So now let me do get kubectl get secret, and that's it. My secret and opaque type data, it has 2 points, username and password, and age is just 24 seconds. Age is just 24 seconds. Now let's also describe that kubectl and describe secret, and it's my secret, and this is what this my secret consists of, metadata about that secret, and then type is opaque, and the data, it consists of only two, that's username and password. And username, password is 12 bytes and username is 5 bytes. So then let's also look into the file one more time. So kubectl get secret my secret option o ml. We should get the same file, other than that the created file API version. You see that data point, its password, and then username in encrypted mode, kind is secret, and this is the metadata about our app, about our secret object. So now we have our secret objects. Of course, we have three secret objects, out of which we are going to take the my secret object and attach with the pod object to securely run it. So let's create a pod. Let's create a pod to read secret keys. So for that, let's get into that. So what I'm gonna say here is the name read secret.ml. Okay, it's a pod one. I'm gonna say read secret.ml. Read secret.ml. So kind, it's pod. So API version remains same, kind pod remains same, metadata So what I'm gonna say, metadata name, I'll keep just name, rest all labels I don't want at this moment, or else I'll keep the labels also. So secret env pod, secret environmental pod. So same thing I'll say, secret env pod. Okay. So metadata is ready. Now specs, let's get into the specs directly from here. So containers, name of the container is my container, and image, Redis image without tag. So that means it will take by default tag is a latest tag. Then after that, I'm going to mention env. This is very important. You have to mention env for to attach this information. So the first one, name, I'll say secret username, and its value, from where will you get this value, because this is the key. Whatever we have mentioned now, see, all environment variables should be like a dictionary, key and value pairs. So here when we say name, okay, this is a secret username, that's the name, and value, either you can directly give a value, or you can get you can reference a value from. So we are referencing this value from secret key ref, that's what we are using, secret key ref. And the name of that secret key ref, what's the name? Let me check that. Let me cross check it before I use. So this is kubectl get secret, and the name is my secret. So I'll say name my secret, then key is username, then optional is false. So now let's add few more things, that is name, and one more option that we're going to attach is name. This time it's a secret password, before it's a username, and this time it's a secret password. So again, the value from, I think it's env. So the value from secret keyref, and let me put the name my secret, and key is password. And optional is not required, but still we can add optional false. So same as the optional, same as default, my secret must exist and include a key named password. So that's it, all done. Now let's remove this memory one, which is not required, and container port also. Now let's to give the restart policy, which is equal to the indentation of container. It's container. So restart policy, I'm gonna go with never ever try to restart it. That's it. Our file, a pod definition file is ready with us. Now let me save this and copy it and get into our server, and vim, the name of the file I'm gonna give is read. Okay, I think I have given read secret. Let me check. ls my secret is there, vim. So this is a pod definition file, the previous one is secret definition file. I'll say read secret.aml. So here I am going to paste everything, complete piece of code, and you see that API version. Let me cross check the code, all the key and value pairs one by one. So kind, pod, and metadata, we have name, secret, and pod. And after that, at the same indentation, we have a spec. Then in spec, we have two containers and restart policy. Restart policy is always never. And in containers, we have to mention the container name. And inside that container, we are using image redis, and inside that image we have two environment variable. Basically, one is secret username and the other one is secret password. So from where will you get it? From where will you get this secret username and secret password values? So the values you have to get from secret key ref, and then you have to give the name of that secret key. So for both we have given my secret because that's what the secret file is. Now let me do the W and Q, that's a save and quit. So now it's time to create a pod with a secret object. A kubectl create option F. So read secret.aml. So the pod has been created successfully. You see that pod object, and the name of the pod object is secret env pod. So now let's say kubectl get pod, and you should see our pod. Here it is, secret and pod one by one are up and running without any problem. So then what will we do is we will describe the same kubectl describe secret, and the name of the, sorry, this is not secret, this is pod. Describe pod, and name of the pod is secret env pod. And here you will find that respective information. So here you can see the events. So created container and started container. Let me scroll up and scroll up and scroll up. Here is that environment variables. So secret username set to the key username in secret. That's my secret. That's what I want to show. So keep that here. Secret username, that's environment variable. It's the value has been set to the key username in the secret my secret. Okay, so the value of this secret underscore username has been set to the username key inside a secret named as a my secret object. Similarly, for secret password, the key, the value of the secret password has been set to the key password in secret my secret. So it's all fine. Now let's also do kubectl get pod, and name of the pod is my c okay, kubectl get pod and kubectl get pod and name of that is secret env and pod, and after that I'm gonna mention o and ml, and this is the complete pod. And here you can find out the pod IP also, basically 196.227. More information, more, you can get a lot of information from here. And requests, yeah, here you see that containers and the complete piece of spec containers, image redis, image pullover, always name my container. So now it's all done. Basically this is using our file itself. So what we are going to do is we have to cross check the secret username and secret password environment variable. For that we have to log into the system. So we have to log into the pod and we have to print variables. So kubectl get pod. Now let's log into that. For that kubectl exec and std in and tty, sorry, tty, and the name of the pod is secret env pod. That's the name of the pod. And let me do the bin bash. And here is that we are inside that. Let me clear the screen. Anyway, yeah, now you see root, and we are inside the secret env pod. We are inside the pod. Superb. We are inside the pod. So now let's try to fetch the environment variable. If you want to navigate if you want to navigate around the secret and pod or pod, you can do that. ls, you can give ls because we are in the data directory. So cd root ls and cd ls. You see that you have bin data etc lib media opt root as bin sys user, almost all binary, all directories that are similar to the linux we have because it's linux pod. So you can basically look into the each and every, it's similar to the similar to our container, similar to our virtual machine, similar to our ubuntu distributions file system, nothing much. So now what I'm going to do is, anyway we are inside the pod. Now I will say echo and secret, and it's a username, and let me execute and see that you got that. We gave an encrypted username, that's encrypted username to that. Okay, let me show that. So here is that pods and read my secret.ml, and you see that username we have gave it in encrypted way and we got it in a decrypted way, that's admin. And similarly I'm gonna say echo and dollar secret password and my secret pass, and that's what here it says. So this is encrypted password and that's a decrypted password. So again we can also do the following way: echo and the protection and secret underscore username and protection, again still you will get it. And same you can do for the secret password also. I'm gonna attach a protection to this. You see that? So we are inside the pod and we are able to access the environment variable that we have mentioned inside our secret file which has been encrypted, and we are able to see a decrypted secret environment variables. So that's what all about secrets for now.